Life doesn't happen to me, it happens for me. Everything in life happens for a reason. And if you can truly find that reason and use those hardships as motivation and fuel to get better, you can overcome anything in life. But really, why I started the team was because I have a conscience and I have to go to sleep at night. And I know for a fact that there are other companies that I've seen and other real estate agents that I've heard of that don't necessarily have the client's best interest at heart. Sometimes they have the bottom line first. And I'm a people first guy. You have to take care of the people. And so it literally I started the team because I'm going to go to a different brokerage. And I started looking around, and not to talk crap about the other brokerages, but nobody really had that mindset that I thought. And I thought, well, I can create a better path. I can create a path where agents enjoy coming to work. Agents know that they can put their clients first. It's not about the commission. It's about changing people's lives with buying or selling real estate, which is the hugest transaction of their life. Like, it's people matter. And that's really where it came from. And dude, it grew like crazy. When I started my organization, I said, I don't want our organization to sell people. I want to help people. People don't want to be sold. I want to help them. So anytime in our organization, we would correct someone if they said, hey, we're going to sell this or sell that. That was a cuss word in our organization. We corrected them. You mean you were going to help them? We did that for years and years and years. Here's the problem. In this new market, people still don't want to be sold. People don't even need your help in this marketplace. They need you to lead them through the process. Stop being a helper and start being a leader. When you do that, your business will change.
We are privileged and honored to be able to do what we do each and every day. We get to help people with the biggest purchase or the biggest sale of their lives each and every day. The clients deserve better than you to practice on them. Do your practice first, own your skill set, become the master of the skills that you need to become that person, that go-to, that guide for them to make that biggest purchase or sale of their life. Quit practicing on your clients. They deserve better.
Life doesn't happen to me, it happens for me. Everything in life happens for a reason. And if you can truly find that reason and use those hardships as motivation and fuel to get better, you can overcome anything in life.
Yeah, it's powerful stuff, man. Yeah, and it appears that for most, I know this is true for me in many cases of my life, that we don't like the change that's necessary to change our trajectory, our situation doesn't come into play until like the pain of the status quo outweighs the pain of the change of what's necessary. And it sounds like in that position, man, you got past due bills due. You know, you don't know how you're going to take care of your kids. I can't even fathom what that situation is like with thinking of that your wife, like having to say those goodbyes.
Yeah.
So then from there, dude, and just so you got your what year was it when you got your license?
I got licensed in 2013.
2013. Okay. So then from there, man, you have this, just massively scary wake up call that but then your wife pulls through, gets better. At that point, it doesn't sound like you've done any business yet because you get licensed and all this, just a
Correct.
Tornado of things hits you. How do you start, because there's a lot of people that may not be in that bad of a situation and have those same scares, but maybe from a financial point in that same position. What did you start doing then from a business standpoint to get yourself in a different position?
Yeah, great question. So I relate this to everybody's had something happen in their life, right? We all have a story, and this isn't a poor me. It's a blessing, these things that have happened in my life, because I'm able to have what I have today because of that. But what do you actually do when your back's against the wall? When you have no options, what do? Do you fight or do you run? And so I'm a fighter. And so here's what I did. I was the first one to the office every day. I was the last one to leave. My rule every single day was I did not leave the office until I set an appointment or it was 10 p.m. One of those two things happened before I went home. And so literally, and I would probably do it over a little differently if I had to again, but I just came from such an extreme bad situation that I just had zero options mentality and I was going to make it work. And so my daughter didn't see me for the first year of her life after all of this, because I was building a legacy, right? That was what I kept telling myself. It's going to work. It's got to work. It's got to work. And so that mentality turned into 74 closings my very first year in real estate. From there, I decided I wanted to build the team. Josh, you may not know this, but I bought a cool course called Real Estate Mastery Bootcamp back in 2014, 2015. And started following you. I bought that course and learned a lot of things because I was just hustling. I didn't have any process. I was just hustling. Like I had at one point in time during that year, I had 42 pendings on the pending board as a single agent. I mean, it was just, it was not organized to say the least. And so I learned from you a lot of processes and systems. And then I decided that I was doing all this for my daughter, but she wasn't able to see her dad. So I needed to make some adjustments. And so those adjustments was to create leverage. And I had plenty of opportunity and already cleared the path and proven that I knew how to sell. And so I started hiring people, hired an assistant, hired a buyer's agent, and started a little team. And then at that point, I ran into another snag. I was on pace to outgrow that year with my assistant, and the leadership at the brokerage I was at did not enjoy my fast growth. And we were butting heads, and I decided to leave because they wouldn't allow me to start a team, essentially. And so I wanted to start a team because I knew I could do more. And so I started a team, went to a new company. And from that point, like I've been in the business a year and a half. Like I'd done well, but I wasn't financially stable yet. Like I was still getting back on my feet. All my listings, all my pendings were basically stolen. In my state, it's legal. The broker owns it, right? And so it wasn't a good departure, and they decided to take them all. And so I started from absolute zero in 2016. Grew my team there at this new company that quote unquote, allowed me to start a team, right? And sold 100 homes from absolute zero my very first year as starting a team. When I say absolute zero, like we started in January, no listings, no marketing, no signs, nobody knew who we were, right? And went to 100 closings that very first year, grew that to 250 the next year. And then I found another ceiling. And at that point in time, we had 97 signs in the ground, 97 listings. Dude, things were rocking. We were just, proof of concept was there. We were crushing it. People were knocking our door down to be a part of it. And again, the company we were with did not like our growth. And it sounds like I'm maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just hard to get along with. I don't know. But I really like helping people and growing. And it part of when I started a team, it's important to note this. Why you do what you do is very, very crucial. In your community, your agents, your team members, it matters. So these numbers sound great, but really why I started the team was because I have a conscience and I have to go to sleep at night. And I know for a fact that there are other companies that I've seen and other real estate agents that I've heard of that don't necessarily have the client's best interest at heart. Sometimes they have the bottom line first. And I'm a people first guy. You have to take care of the people. And so it literally I started the team because I'm going to go to a different brokerage. And I started looking around, and not to talk crap about the other brokerages, but nobody really had that mindset that I thought. And I thought, well, I can create a better path. I can create a path where agents enjoy coming to work. Agents know that they can put their clients first. It's not about the commission. It's about changing people's lives with buying or selling real estate, which is the hugest transaction of their life. Like people matter. And that's really where it came from. And dude, it grew like crazy. And so 97 signs in the yard, we decide that we're going to take an opportunity. We actually partnered with eXp Realty and opened up a new office. And as I'm building out my new office to move into, the broker that I'm with finds out. And I kept it hush hush because the rumors were that they were going to take everything, et cetera. And so literally they pulled me in the office, and this is the conversation. So how's your office coming along? I'm like, oh, well, it's about 60 days out from being done. Like, oh, okay. Well, you got to 5 p.m., get your shit and get out. That was the conversation. Like, I walk out the door. I'm like, are you sure this is how you want to handle this? Yep. I already made my decision. And by the way, those 97 listings, they're mine. Don't call them. And so that was real. That's where I went to my basement. We worked out of my basement for 60 days. And it sounds like, oh, well, it's no big deal. Dude, 97 listings and all we had, I don't know how many pendings we had at the time, but it was over 50 pendings, right? Like that was a massive impact on my business that I had just reinvested every penny I had to grow to this point. So now I'm back to absolute zero again, working in my basement with half of the team that decided to come with me. The other half stayed. And I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I've got to start over from absolute zero 3 times now in 4 years. Like, this is crazy. And so from there, partnering with EXP and just having, basically, I'm in charge, right? It's my team. Nobody can stop me. There's no ceiling, so to speak. And from there, dude, we have just absolutely exploded. Partner with the right people, have amazing people on the team. And we've went from absolute zero again to we're going to sell over 800 closings this year, 800 transactions.
Yeah, it's so epic, dude. Yeah, and it's so important, man. I mean, I get asked all the time about, what's the best brokerage and so forth. And I don't believe that there is a best. It's about identifying what the best is for you, but it's so important to think long-term about what those goals are. Now, when you're brand new in the business, like, you don't know, you're just thinking about making some money. You didn't have that vision of maybe creating the team and okay. So you've essentially had to rebuild from scratch 3 times. So, and we'll get into, team growth and what you're doing today and so forth. But, man, so your first year, 74 closings, then you start from scratch again, everything, all that was, all those listings, all that was pulled from you. You had to start from scratch again. And then you built to 94 listings or whatever that number was. And then you're having to start. So what did you do to get those clients? Because I know that we have a lot of agents that are watching and listening to this podcast that, would love to go out there and do 74 units. Like, what did you do to go out there and get those clients?
Yeah. So it goes back to work ethic, right? Like how I started the story is, and I think it's a very important message right now, coming off of what the markets have done the last 3 years. I think a lot of times, I know myself, definitely as the leader of the organization, has kind of let my foot off the gas. When times are easy, it's kind of easy to sit back and relax. And I think a lot of agents have adopted that mindset. And so if I contribute one thing to my success, it's that no one's going to outwork me. But I also have found great trainings, great mentors, your training that I took. I'm coached by John Cheplack now, who in my opinion is the best coach on the planet. And being in the right rooms around the right people to put that work ethic to do the next right thing, right? Versus just going blindly, like finding a process of how you want to grow strategically, I think has been crucial. So if I think back to as a single agent, what really worked was just not ever giving up on the lead. Like I tell my agents, I told them we're doing a Monday Mayhem program right now where we're just changing our mindset to adapt to this new market. And we're prospecting all day, right? All day. It's no appointments allowed. We're in the trenches all day long, just making phone calls. And I told them, I said, you are not allowed to hang up on any leads. We hang up. So what happens is most agents don't realize this. When I say this as in a coaching conversation with some of my clients, they're like, wait, what do you mean? I don't hang up on people. But when's the last time you got off the phone and said, well, I'll send you listings. Let me know what you see if you see anything you like. That's a hang up. Well, if you find anything, give me a call. We'll be in touch. Like there's only 2 ways to end an appointment, Josh. It's either you set another appointment or you're writing an offer. That's it. And that could be a phone call. That's face-to-face. That's Zoom. But I maximized every single opportunity. A lot of people are, well, I need more leads. There right now, especially if you have a database, that is where your gold is, because there are buyers that missed out on the market because they got outbid. They didn't want to compete, that are in your database right now, that if you're nurturing them properly, they're coming back to the top, and that's your new lead. That's who you need to focus on. There are also sellers that didn't take advantage of the market because times weren't right for them. They need you to be the lighthouse and educate them on this market. Like, I think that's how you dominate this current market, is just be the lighthouse and education source for the community. Even if now is not a good time for them to buy, tell them the truth. Like we as an industry have a terrible reputation, and some of it's earned because we tell them salesy pitches about when it's always a good time to buy, it's always a good time to sell. If that's not the truth, don't tell them that, because when it's time for them to buy or sell, guess what? You will be the go-to. And you will own the conversation around all of their friends. And I think that's what really helped me grow my business, is that I earned that trust with the clients. And I maximize the opportunity and help them through the process, versus most agents focus on bottom of the funnel leads, right? Like they're ready to buy or sell now. Don't get me wrong, I want as many of those as I possibly can. but I also want to add as many people to that funnel as possible. I don't care where they're at in the process. I want to nurture them. I want to provide them value. I want to educate them. And what happens is now they become your biggest fans because you are treating them differently than the rest of the industry, than the other agents' databases that they're in that are just sending them listings. You're providing extra value. And over time, they share that message to your clients, to your community. Like as an example, last year we sold 767 units. Over 400 of those came directly to us, meaning they went organic to our website because they've heard about us or they called our office. 400 closings from people that have heard about our reputation and wanted to work with us. Like that isn't easy to build, but you said it earlier, Josh, is about building a long-term sustainable business. Sometimes building that trust with that one person is way more important than just barely touching 8, 9, 10 leads. Go all in on that one person and build that relationship and maximize that opportunity you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. So it sounds like what you're saying is there's no magic pill based on a lead source. It's what are you doing once that lead comes in that makes the difference?
So, dude, there is no magic lead source. You 100% right. The agents. So here's the number one question I get. Well, what lead source works the best? It's the one that you work the best. That is it. Like all leads. Now there's different ones, like with some of these referral sources that call you directly. They're already through an ISA department. Of course, those are closer to the bottom of the funnel typically. But still, if you don't have a process and a cadence of how a script and dialogue to follow up with them and a process of how you nurture them, not all of them are ready right now. And they're not just reaching out to you. They're reaching out to every single portal on the planet. And you have to be skilled enough to maximize that opportunity. But where agents fall short, and I think it's very easy and relative to today's market that we're going into, is it's not the quality of the lead. The quality of the lead is determined by the skill set of the agent. The skill set and work ethic of the agent determine how good of a lead that is. It's not the lead source. Every lead source that I've ever tried, except for one, has worked because it's how we work it. And if you have that mindset, yes, you need to track everything. You need to measure everything and you need to be budget conscious. All of that stuff is important, but there is no magic lead. There is no magic pill.
Are you a real estate team leader that is frustrated, dealing with unproductive agents, loss of revenue, market shifts, or maybe you feel like I've felt and beating your head against the wall, trying to grow your team, or maybe even keep your team together? Well, good news, I may have your solution. Matt Smith here with Matt Smith Real Estate Group. I'm also partnered with John Cheplack and Cheplack Life Coaching. For the last 2 years, I've coached team leaders across North America, helping them reach and exceed their goals and grow their business. One of the things that I found is most important, and I've got personally coaching with John Cheplack, is learning the leadership language and learning how to become a better leader and apply those principles in my organization. I believe in contribution and giving back to this industry that's given so much to me. So if you like what you hear on this podcast and you feel like you're in alignment with some of the things that I share here for free, but you want a little bit more, you want to learn more, you want some more guidance, you want some more tactics, some more strategies, send me a text. Text Discovery Call to 573-261-6778.
This is an equation. You guys should take a picture of this, and I'll explain what this means. When I started my organization, I said, I don't want our organization to sell people. I want to help people. People don't want to be sold. I want to help them. So anytime in our organization we would correct someone if they said, hey, we're going to sell this or sell that, that was a cuss word in our organization. We corrected them. You mean you were going to help them? We did that for years and years and years. Here's the problem. In this new market, people still don't want to be sold. People don't even need your help in this marketplace. They need you to lead them through the process. Stop being a helper and start being a leader. When you do that, your business will change. All right, we're here to talk about lead conversion. I'm just going to get some stuff out of the way. None of you have a lead generation problem. How many of you want more sales by show of hands? No alligator arms, lift them up. We all want to sell more real estate. That's why you're here, right? Well, if you don't have enough sales, what do we all think we need? Not enough sales, we need more what? But when do more leads equal more sales? When? We're shooting at the wrong target. More leads don't equal more sales. It's the conversion of the leads that matter. So you don't have a lead generation problem, you have a lead conversion problem. Now that we know the problem is, let's solve it. In order to convert leads, you need to understand the psychology of the buyers and sellers. It's a big word, but you need to understand the behavior of the people. They're just humans that are looking to buy or sell real estate. So let's break that down. First and foremost, scripts don't work. Just a fact. Should there be talk tracks? Should there be dialogues? Should there be things to remind you? Are there strategies? Are there tactics? Absolutely. But outdated sales scripts do not work because you're reading from a page instead of having a conversation with a human. You can have the best script on the planet, and I'm going to give you some scripts today. But if you don't get this part, the script won't work. The conversation that you have with a human is 95% of the problem. Spend 95% building relationship and having a conversation with the human on the other end of the phone, and only 5% in your sales script. The conversation, if you have the best script on the planet, but you don't have a great conversation, it's not going to work. But if you have a terrible script and you have a great conversation, there's still a chance, right? So focus on the conversation, not the script. We're trying to solve the wrong problem. So what makes a great sales conversation? Get rid of the word sales. I think in today's society, we forgot how to have a conversation with a human. How do you build a relationship and rapport and build trust with a human? We forgot how. I'm going to break it down for you. You guys should take a picture of this. I say this quote all the time. If you make a friend, you make a sale. Pretty simple. Stop trying to sell people. Start being friendly. Build a conversation. Build a relationship. If you make a friend, you make a sale. Have you ever made a friend that was a lead that came in and you didn't sell them something? Very rare. But the clients that if I asked you, hey, who are your 5 favorite clients you've ever worked with? You probably have them on speed dial. You're their best friends. They probably send you referrals all the time. You know why? You had a conversation. You built a relationship with that human. Make a friend, and then the sales will come. So how do you make a friend? You've got to build rapport and trust. I'm going to go through this quickly. How do you build rapport and trust? This is simple stuff, guys, but I just want to break this down so we understand. You got to show genuine, authentic interest. Are you genuinely interested in them? Are you being authentically you? Or are you putting your mask on and trying to sell them something? Find common ground. Pretty simple. Make the conversation feel natural and personal. Mirror and match energy and tone. That's a big one. Mirror and match energy and tone. I think great salespeople are chameleons. You have to be careful. You still be authentic and be genuine. But if someone talks really slow and really soft, and you come in talking like an auctioneer, it's not going to work. These things matter in the conversion of leads. You can't build rapport and trust with someone if you don't mirror and match their energy and tone. Active listening. Active listening. Not pretending to listen. Active listening with empathy. You have to actually understand their problems, their pain. Uncover their real needs, their desires, their pain points. People buy because of 2 things. Pain or pleasure. They're moving away from pain or they're moving towards pleasure. Do you know that for the person that you're working with? It's pretty simple, right? This is simple, but so many agents miss this. Acknowledge their concerns. Have you guys ever listened to a call? Maybe you've been a part of a call where you felt like you were fighting against the person on the phone? Fighting against, it was you versus them. Here's my analogy that I use. So I'm from Missouri, and in Missouri we have fences in neighborhoods, and it's like one fence separates the 2 neighbors. And so in a sales conversation, there's a fence separating you and the prospect in this situation. Instead of arguing back and forth over the fence and playing this weird tennis match, what if you just open the gate, walk around? I'm on your side of the fence here. I got you. I'm here to work with you. I'm here to help you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to lead you. Quit arguing with your prospects. You need to acknowledge their concerns. Their concerns and their perception is what really matters. What you say does not matter. What they hear is everything. Listen to understand versus listening to reply. You guys have heard this over and over again, but too many times, and I'm guilty of this too. They say something I want to interrupt because I have this big zinger that I want to interrupt and tell them. But that's about us. That's ego. That's not about helping them. Listen to understand versus listen to reply. You guys should take a picture of this communication circle. I need to get a better graphic of that. But this is how people receive communication. If you want to build relationships with people, you want to sell, you want to convert, you need to understand this. John talks about copy, and copy is important. It's crucial. But when you're on the phone with someone, is the script the most important part? Not a chance. If you don't believe me, so the words that you say in a conversation with someone are only 7% of the equation. That means there's 93% chance they're going to misunderstand or misinterpret what you're trying to deliver. You don't believe me? Have you ever got a text from someone? It could be your significant other, it could be your friend, it could be someone. And you're like, what in the hell? Why is Jordan mad at me? And I go and call Jordan. He's like, hey, what's up, man? I have the best conversation ever. I'm like, dude, what was up with that text? He's like, what are you talking about? Does that ever happen? How many times does it happen with your prospects? You're trying to sell through text messages. 38% is your tonality. The tonality that you have. That's why, again, you mirror and match their tone. So that's only 45% of the equation, by the way. That's why phone calls are better than text. That's why you can sell better. It's because you have 45% chance of delivering your message. You can share your excitement, your energy way better over the phone with your tonality than you can through a text. But the biggest one of the circle is your body language. What have you heard over and over and over again? Video text. What I like to say is you got to get face-to-face with people. Belly button to belly button. I looked up the stat, and it's actually increased. I looked it up this morning. According to the AI that gave me the answer, 71% of home buyers work with the first agent they meet in person. It used to be 67%. 71%. Why is that? Does that mean that all those agents are good? They're just first. And they have a 100% shot versus you sending outdated emails that you don't even know what they say or text messages as templates because you're automating yourself versus them having a 100% chance of having the conversation, right? So again, a reminder, you don't have a lead generation problem, you have a lead conversion problem. Here's another problem that we have. You guys have too many leads. You don't believe me? I did this with my organization, and I was talking to a couple people that I highly respect out in the hall, and we just cut all of our lead spend in half on everything that we do. We have enough leads in our database. We just need to convert them better. We don't need new leads. What's more valuable? A new lead that comes in that is just in the curiosity phase, or a lead that came in 18 months ago that comes back and revisits the site? Which one's more valuable? Then why do we care about new leads? And I'm not saying you don't need new leads, but for perspective, you guys with me? We misprioritize that we need new leads. New leads don't equal more sales. We've already established that. Too many leads also dilute the ability for you to build quality relationships and follow up effectively. I learned this from Alec Cheplak. More isn't better. More is not always better. More leads we think equals more sales, but in reality, we all agree it does not. But better is always better. So how can you have better conversion? How can you have better conversations? How can you build better relationships with the people that already know, like, and trust you? Sounds really, really simple, but it works. I'll show you proof in a minute. Make sure you go deep, not wide. Too many of us spread wide, and we throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. You need to have depth of relationship. You need to understand your business. You need to understand your lead generation. You need to understand your lead conversion. You need to go deep on those things. You can't do it all. I'll just tell you, my business included, everybody up here, if you just had an honest conversation, they would tell you that they feel like their business is an absolute shit show. But we think in the crowd that, hey, the people on stage have everything together. We don't. We're human. We're not perfect. But there are a few things that we obsess over and we have mastered. And we have gotten better and better and better because we realize we can't solve all the problems, but we can solve the most pressing one. And I think you guys are here to solve the problem of converting leads, right? So go deep on those things, not wide. Here's an example. Greg, phenomenal masterclass yesterday on seller lead conversion. I've been focusing on my business for about 18 months, and he just completely overhauled everything that I'm doing. And I'm with him. I'm all in on that. But a study that I learned when I was on this journey is that 5% of your database will list their home in the next 12 months. By show of hands, how many of you have 10,000 or more leads in your database? Cool. I know some of you in the room didn't raise your hands. You don't want to participate. That's cool. I know you have more than 10,000. But my point being is, well, we need more seller leads, so we need more listings. 5% of the people you already have, you've already paid for, you've already marketed to, you've already probably had conversations with, are going to list their home in the next 12 months. Last time I checked, that's 500 listings. Why do we need more seller leads? Why don't we re-engage the people that we already have? Real estate's a contact sport. Too many people are just scared to meet with people or scared to get hung up on, or I don't want to bug them. 71% of people, of home buyers, work with the first agent they meet in person. And most of those agents, they're not in this room, they're probably not learning. They're probably people like we heard on those phone calls, right? They're still getting the business because they're getting out of their comfort zone and they're meeting with them face to face. Growth is uncomfortable. This market is uncomfortable. It's a contact sport. You got to get face to face. Or like I like to say, and I was going to do a picture, but they were just all gross, so I didn't do it, but belly button to belly button. I was actually Googling that in the back of the room yesterday. I'm like, I can't do that. But you got to get belly button to belly button with buyers and sellers, right? Face to face. Have a conversation. All right. This right here is everything you need to know on how to convert leads. If you don't take a picture of this, I can't help you. This is a sophisticated communication framework that will crush your outdated script every single time. I could spend 3 hours going over this. I'll give you scripts, I'll give you dialogues, I'll give you tactical things, but if you don't understand this at depth, the scripts won't matter. So how do you have a sophisticated communication framework? Number one, seek first to understand, then be understood. Seek first to understand, then be understood. My 7-year-old daughter knows that. She learns it in school. But somehow we forget it as salespeople. We want to throw our agenda down their throat. It's not about us, it's about them. Every human being on the planet operates on the same radio frequency, WIFM. What's in it for me? We all do. We're all selfish beings. So if we know that's a fact, why do we tell them how good we are instead of ask them what is important to them? What are your pains? What are your pleasures? Seek first to understand, then be understood. Number two, handle objections in advance. Rookies wait for objections. Pros handle them in advance. Let me give you an example. Used to be just on sellers, but it's in buyers in today's society as well. Because you got to have an agreement with everyone you meet with. How many agents, and I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands because you're going to lie, but most agents are scared to death to ask them this question that is so powerful. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm just curious. Are you going to be interviewing other agents for this job? Oh my God, you might plant the seed. They hadn't thought about it before until I brought it up. Come on. But if you say that with confidence and you know, and if they do want to interview other agents and you're not the best fit, do you really deserve that business anyway? Are you doing this for you or to help people? Quality of the lead is determined by the skill and the will of the agent. And if you're scared to compete, you should probably look at that shiny object called the mirror. Number three, base your next question on their response. Listen to understand versus listening to reply. I can give you the best script on the planet, but if you don't understand this one, there's not much I can do to help. This is why scripts don't work, because people want to read from top to bottom. But do conversations always go from A to B to C? Sometimes they go from A to X to Z, back to C. You got to base your next question on their response. Does that say base your next shitty sales line based upon what they say? No. Base your next question on their response. There's a simple framework that everyone should follow. I didn't put it in the slide, but it just popped in my head. You guys should write it down. Answer, ask, and then acknowledge ask. You want to build a conversation with someone? Answer their question, ask another question, acknowledge what they said, ask another question. Number four, allow them to be the hero of their own story. It's not about us. There's way too much ego in this business. We want to tell people how good we are. I'll give you a quick story. There was an agent that joined me. She actually joined me as a listing coordinator. She came from another company, a competitor in the marketplace that was really high producing broker. And she worked for her for years and years and years. And she came and joined our organization. And she shadowed me on the first listing appointment day one when she joined. And I was on the listing appointment. And afterwards, I asked her, I said, how did it go? What'd you think? She said, well, number one, it was really good, but I'm confused. I said, what do you mean? She's like, well, you've been number one in the area year after year. You have this, you have this. She named all the things of why she joined our organization. She said, you didn't mention any of that in the listing presentation. I said, because it's not about me. It's about her. I said, did she sign the listing contract? She said, oh yeah, it went great. I said, well, what did you expect? She's like, I don't know. My previous company, they just went in and showed a ranking sheet and said, hey, I sell more houses in your neighborhood than anyone else, list with me. I said, and who do you think would have won if we were competing? Because I built a relationship with the human. Allowed them to be the hero of their own story. Remove your ego. You are the guide, they are the hero. Number 5, great salespeople ask great questions. Really simple. Guys, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should be listening twice as much as you're talking. Self-discovery is the number 1 way to get a human being to make a choice and to take action. You don't get a star because you know the answer to the test. You should be 3 or 4 steps ahead in the conversation anyway with the sophisticated communication framework. You should know where the conversation is going because guess what? You're leading them down the path. And instead of you saying the answer that you know, what if they say it? Which one's more powerful? Because if they say it, they actually hear it. I spent a lot of time here because this is good.
Recruiting solves all problems. I heard that from John Cheplack at the first John Cheplack event that I ever went to, and I didn't fully understand what it meant. Let's think about it this way. What is easier to do? To get an agent who is a human to change their behavior in the changing marketplace and force them to change, or to bring in new people with new standards, with new activity, new hunger, new drive, and them start seeing results, and then everyone else fall in alignment and want to do the same activities that are producing those results. So many of us overcomplicate recruiting. We don't want to cold call. We don't know who to call. We don't know what to say. We get uncomfortable. So I've developed a solution. We've been operating this in my business for 3 years now. It's recruiting funnels that gives you a conveyor belt of recruits that raise their hand and ask if they can join your real estate team. If you're interested in learning more about a lead generation strategy that runs parallel with a real estate business, just how you run buyer and seller business, we can run your recruiting business the same way. Visit 3recruitingfunnelsbuilt.com to learn more. If you're listening to this, I'm assuming you're in the real estate industry or you want to be. And let me have an honest conversation with you. We are privileged and honored to be able to do what we do each and every day. We get to help people with the biggest purchase or the biggest sale of their lives each and every day. The clients deserve better than you to practice on them. Do your practice first, own your skill set, become the master of the skills that you need to become that person, that go-to, that guide for them to make that biggest purchase or sale of their life. Quit practicing on your clients. They deserve better.
Yeah,
Sorry.
absolutely. No, it's great because we go into these and we lose that confidence in ourselves. We're like, we sound like idiots. We're not making any sense. We're stuttering. Whenever you get that out of the way with your coworkers, you are so much more confident. You've already warmed up your engine. You're ready to go. You're building that momentum from role play. You're diving in, you're taking action. And so that's exactly what we saw at the event. So we practiced with each other right after the event. We had homework. And I think that's so important is that, are you going to the conferences and are you taking time away from your family to just go and la-di-da, have fun? Or are you going and are you taking action from the things that you're learning and coming back to your family and making a difference for your business?
Well, that can apply to an event. That can apply to a sales meeting. That can apply to listening to this podcast. Like we become, for lack of a better term, we become information whores. And we just want to gather all of this and we just want to learn from everything, right? And we just want to intake all of this. And I love it. I'm a lifelong learner myself. But again, let's go back to where my elementary school had it wrong. Knowledge is not power. It is the implementation of the knowledge that is where the power is. And so sometimes, and I have coaches in my life, just as an example, I spend well over 6 figures a year on coaches to help me become better. Okay, so that's where this is coming from. Allow me to coach you through other coaches that coach me. And what they tell me is, Matt, stop learning so much. I love that you want to learn. I love that you want to learn, but you're adding all of these things to your knowledge and you're not able to apply it as quickly. So find the top 2 or 3 things from all these great podcasts that you're listening to, all these great events, and go and apply them and master them. And until that is done, you don't like stop listening to podcasts. Like is literally the advice that I get. Right. And it's because I'm a little crazy and that's all I listen to. I don't have a radio in my car. I only listen to podcasts. Right. So, but I think it's just knowledge for everyone is where is the opportunity in everything that you're doing each and every day to be able to gather that one nugget, that one nuance, that one subtlety, so you can learn something new, or most of the time be able to tweak or adjust something to be just a little bit better next time you run into that situation. And if we learn those things and we apply them into our business over time, again, stacking over time, it has a massive, massive compound effect.
Yeah. So something I just wrote down on my desk at home. So after each day, we went home and we had homework, whether that was actually writing down the scripts out. So we can, you learn and you internalize things so much better whenever you write them down. So our homework would include writing down the scripts, actually calling clients. I believe it was 5 to 10 each day. But something I just wrote on my desk that is powerful. I need to have it at work too on a little sticky note. But it says, going to a conference is not doing the thing. Reading about doing the thing that you need to do is not doing the thing. Making a to-do list of doing the thing is not doing the thing. Saying that you're going to do the thing is not doing the thing. Actually doing the thing is doing the thing. And I think that, and I write down my to-do list every single day. I have my power list. I have my daily tracker of exactly what I'm going to accomplish. But that was eye-opening because I do my to-do list every single day. But what actually works is me doing the thing that I say I'm going to do. And that was one of my biggest takeaways this week that I highly encourage you to write that on a sticky note, put in front of you every single place that you work, and just realize we need to quit talking about it. We need to quit going to these conferences and not actually putting anything that we learn that is proven to work. We just need to do the work. It's as simple as that. 100%,
100%. Like, yes, couldn't have said it better myself. And I think we all struggle with that. Like, I love that. I would love for you to share that quote in our All or Nothing private group for everyone. I think we can all learn something from that. It's like, how many times do we think about, I need to do ABC, or I should do XYZ?
Yeah.
And then we don't execute, right? Like, execution is the secret ingredient that is missing. That reminds me, I literally just made a post right before we started this podcast on discipline. And so I'm gonna read it just because it's so in line with what you just said. But I said, why is discipline so important? Discipline is the strongest form of self-love. Discipline is ignoring something you want right now for something better later on. Discipline reveals the commitment you have to your dreams, especially on days where you don't want to. The future you is depending on the current you to keep the promises you made to yourself yesterday. I'm going to say that again. The future you is depending on the current you to keep the promises you made to yourself yesterday. That's where discipline and execution come in. Right? Like, that is the secret ingredient. It's not this magic pill. It's not this new lead source. It's not this new marketing thing. Yes, do all those things help when you stack upon? Absolutely. But like I've said this so many times, is like, if agents don't have enough sales, what do they always say? I need more what?
Leads.
I need more leads. But do more leads equal more sales? No. Not even close, right? It just doesn't work that way. Like, it's not this magic lead that converts to sales. But if you build a business on purpose, you track your KPIs, you execute daily, you get to choose who you want to work with and who you don't. And you have a pipeline of business. You know what your next 3 months looks like of people that you're going to be working with. Like, that is possible in this business. As mind-blowing as that may sound, that is how this business should be ran and can be ran, so that you have a predictable business. You can create leverage in your life and actually have true freedom, because you're working with the people that you want to work with. You're working with them on purpose, and you're not waiting for that magic lead to come in and you got to go show a house at Sunday at 8:00 at night.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no freedom a lot of real estate agents are working with people that overwhelm them, that stress them out, that are difficult, that are rude and disrespectful because they feel like they don't have a choice. But once you're in a position of building your pipeline, you have no problem saying, we're not a good fit for each other. I wish you the best on your journey. There's power in having that mindset freedom of being like, okay, my piece, and I'm able to help more people by saying no to this person. And I'm able to do that because I have a steady pipeline or because I have built the business that I've built. So it's
so freaking good. Agents, stop giving away your power. Stop giving away your power. Keep the power yourself, but the power is hidden in the daily execution and the discipline that you're choosing not to do. That gives you the power and the freedom to do what Lauren just said, who actually has told you she has. Lauren, how much volume are you going to close this year? How many transactions in volume?
I will end right at, should be 45 homes for 10 million, give or take.
I think you will be like 14 million. I think you're mistaken. I just ran the numbers yesterday. And that's all while Lauren is being super mom, and she's also taking on new responsibility as be sales managers for our new branch office. And so honestly, it's probably a down year for her, and that's still what she is producing because she has her own power and she gets to choose who she wants to work with because she practices these things daily and has a very enhanced skill set that she has built over time. And you guys can do the exact same thing. It just takes a little bit of work, a little bit of patience, and being around the right people in the right environment, which hopefully on this podcast and this movement, hopefully we can help be some of that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think about where I was 6 years ago, whenever I got into the industry, and it's crazy how just focusing on the little things and putting in some grit, some long, early mornings, long days, you will set the rest of your business up for success by just being consistent and disciplined. And it really is how you love yourself, is by staying disciplined, doing that for your family. So really, really good stuff.
I love it. Lauren, I want to go back to something that we talked about. You talked about a little bit, the appointment setting dialogue. I want to share with the people a little bit more in depth on the power of the appointment setting dialogue. And so what you had mentioned, and 100% agree, is that a lot of agents don't follow up. There's a couple of reasons. Number one, you're just lazy and don't want to, right? Or sometimes if we're really honest with ourselves and we're in the mood, we're in that energy space that we're ready to make our calls, we're ready to follow up, I hear the fortunes in the follow-up. How do I follow up? And then you get all motivated, get ready to go, and you're like, what do I say to these people?
Yeah.
I think a lot of agents struggle with follow-up is because they don't know what to say. And where this light bulb clicked for me and why I say that this is my favorite script on the planet, as a team leader, as an agent, as a coach, I get to see behind the curtains of a lot of different conversations and a lot of different opportunities all across the world. And the biggest gap that I see consistently is lack of proper follow-up and lack of lead conversion over time. And what agents are, especially the pandemic market, created this too, right? So this is even more relevant because of the recency of the pandemic marketplace and the madness that created. But that's not how real estate and sales actually works. And so let's reset our mind now that is behind us. And I think a lot of people, my prediction, I'm saying this before the end of the year, my prediction is that the 60,000 agents that were out of the business midway through the year will be well over 100,000 agents by the end of the year.
Oh, easily.
And those agents have refused to make the adjustment that I'm getting ready to help you guys go through. And that adjustment is, it is normal for a house to sit on the market for 30, 60, or 90 days. Number one. Number two, it is normal for a lead to come in and they are quote unquote just looking. It is normal for a lead to come in and say, well, I'm waiting for this to happen before I buy or sell. That is normal. And instead of us getting in the mindset of thinking that's a bad lead or it's a waste of my time, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know if shoe stores still exist, but this is the best analogy I have. If you were to walk into a shoe store, like I did this as a kid, I went to the shoe store with my mom every single year before the school year. I got a new pair of shoes before school. We would walk into the shoe store, and as soon as we walked in, the bell would ding when we opened the door. And what did the person at the counter say? How can I help you? What did me and my mom say instantly? Just a reflective answer of like, as soon as someone says, how can I help you? We're in their store. We know we're buying shoes today, and we still say, no, thank you. I'm just looking. I want people in my real estate store that are just looking. Guess what? I am just looking for people who are just looking for buying or selling real estate. And so instead of being in the mindset of that's a bad lead or they're not even interested in buying or selling, let's adopt this mindset. I don't believe what people say. I believe what they do. And so we've all heard as kids growing up that actions speak louder than words. And so what did their actions tell us? Not what did they say with their mouth? What have their actions told us? Their actions told us they became a lead for a reason. They inquired about a property. They requested a home value. They walked into your open house, whatever lead generation method that you have, they did the actions that say that they're interested. Now, if they say they're not interested, they say they're just looking, they say they're waiting on this, that is a great thing. And expect that to happen. That is called normal. Where the money is made is in the conversion of those people that are just looking and how well you can build rapport and relationship over time to truly understand their timeline, their wants, their needs, and help them solve the problem that they have, help them move away from the pain that they're having or towards the pleasure that they are wanting. Like that is the secret sauce. And that takes time. And the problem is we live in an instant gratification world and we want it now. But if we build this pipeline strategically and we build it correctly and we have a badass follow-up script that provides value over time that helps fill all those gaps we just mentioned, I believe you can sell however much real estate you want to sell. And so here are the things that we do in the appointment setting dialogue that is the magic. Very first thing is the very first line is, hey, Lauren, I'm calling you back just like I said I would. Why is that important, Lauren?
Well, one, you're fulfilling the commitment of something that you told them that you would do. So you're gaining.
What if I've never talked to them before?
They don't know that. Oh, this quick tangent, but this is really something at that event was, real estates get shot down because people, they'll get old leads like that where they're like, well, what if they don't remember me, or what if they hang up on me, or what if they cuss me out? The people won't always know that you were the one. Well, I say don't always. They don't know that you were the one that called them. So it still instills that relationship of you're their real estate agent.
Yes.
And so we have to get out of our own way and just call them. If they say, well, I've never talked to you.
There was a study that was done, and I don't remember who shared it, but I heard it from someone.
No.
It may have been Coach Pipes. I don't remember. But what happened was they set an appointment. So they called someone. I don't remember the exact story. I think there's like 3 different scenarios. But anyway, they called and they talked to the buyer or seller, had a great conversation. And then someone called back later and said, hey, who was the agent you just talked to? And they're like, hell, I don't know. What company did they work for? Oh, I don't know. They just set an appointment with them 3 seconds ago. They did the same thing with someone that got hung up on. They're like, I didn't talk to a real estate agent. Right? We need to get out of our own way and realize that we are not that damn important. Set your ego to the side and realize that if you are truly in this business, and you go back to what I said earlier, we are privileged to be able to help people the biggest purchase or sale of their lives. Sometimes it requires us to get uncomfortable. Sometimes it requires us to overcome objections and help people understand that in our hearts, we are truly doing this to help. And we have to do things that are uncomfortable in order to help them sometimes. And that means calling people with value each and every time. So what is the number one complaint about real estate agents? Lack of what?
Follow up.
Lack of communication, right? And or follow up. And so we are hitting that objection head on very first time. And so if I have any conversation, by the way, there's 2 ways to end an appointment. There's a lot of tangents I'm going on here, but let's back up why this is so important. There are 2 ways to end any appointment, any phone call or any appointment. Is number 1 is you set your next appointment. You set an actual date and a time. So say I'm on a phone call with Lauren and we have a great conversation And we, to end the conversation, I'm going to set a time for us to have a consultation. I'm going to meet her at her house for a listing appointment. We're going to go look at homes. Whatever the next thing is, I'm going to set the next appointment. Say that's not applicable because Lauren's time frame is 6 months out. I'm still going to set an appointment, but that next appointment is, all right, Lauren, I'll follow up next Tuesday or 2 weeks from now, Tuesday the 22nd at 2:00. How does that work for you? Awesome. We'll talk then. I'm setting expectations that I'm going to be proactive in my follow-up. And here's a little secret. All of you, every single person listening to this right now hangs up on more clients than clients hang up on you. If you're scared of getting hung up on, just get over your ego and realize that any conversation that doesn't end with an appointment set or your next phone call scheduled, you hung up on them. You hang up on clients way more than they hang up on you. So get over the hang-ups and realize that hang-up is a good thing. It gets you closer to your next yes. And so all of that being said, that's where I feel that this opening line comes in so powerful, because we're building trust. We are telling them, I'm a man or woman of integrity, and I want to help you. I'm going to be proactive, and I'm calling you back just like I said I would. It just sets the tone right out of the gate. And if you do that for a 6-month period and you call them once every 2 weeks, they're going to be looking forward to your call. And you're going to have the highest level of trust, rapport. And then if someone follows up and says, hey, who's your real estate agent? They will know who you are because you've earned that right at that point. But it takes time to build that. The next parts of the script is that I think is really valuable. And there's more nuance to it. And if you guys want a copy of this, I'm happy to share it. Just reach out. We'll give you a copy. But the nuance of this inside of the guts, the value is there's 5 points. And those 5 points are crucial, because if you call to follow up and you just say, hey, I'm calling to follow up, it's a dead call. When's the last time that a salesperson called you? Here's a real life example. I'm trying to buy my wife a new car right now. Salespeople suck. You know, the last time I heard from a salesperson, it was before Thanksgiving. Wow. I called 3 different dealerships and said, here's exactly what I want, and I need it by the end of the year. One person sent me a text with photos. No one else has done anything. Are we doing that to the people that we're trying to help buy and sell real estate? Absolutely we are. Yeah. Right? And so anyway, tangent over. The guts of the appointment setting dialogue is when there's a lot of fortune follow-up. There's nobody wants to be sold, but everybody wants to buy. Right? And so we have to realize that as salespeople is that we're not selling, we're helping. And I've recently changed my language from helping to leading, because people need to be led through this process, and that's our responsibility. One of the things we can lead them through this process, the buying or selling journey, is by educating and informing them. And so there's 5 key points in this script that you provide the value in, that you don't just say, hey, Lauren, I'm calling to follow up, because then it just gets redundant. You have to call with a package of value of education information. And so here's 5 points that you can use. You can talk about the changing market conditions. What is going on with your real estate market? Hey, Lauren, I just want to let you know that home prices year over year actually went up 8%.
Wow.
Share that information with you. I know you're thinking about selling in a few months, and so that's good news I wanted to share. Right? And then I'm going to have a dialogue around that. But I have something of substance that I'm giving her of value, right? Because I am the expert. Increase or decrease in interest rates. Here's a freebie. Go look at KCM, Keeping Current Matters. Interest rates had the largest drop since June of last year within the last 30, 45 days, depending on when this comes out. Now, did I say the interest rates dropped to 5%? Nope. But it was the largest drop because they've been going up, right? We had the largest drop since June. Is that going to be enough for someone to get off the fence? Maybe not. But what is that going to do with your authority score with them? What is that going to do with the professional level of professionalism? Is that you are the one of value to let them know what is happening with interest rates, because a lot of people are hesitant because of interest rates. Now it went from like 7.8 to 7.4. So it's not, in reality, it's not that big of a deal. However, it's an opportunity for me to be the resource. And that's how we need to look through the lens of these follow-ups. Literally in our sales meeting, I did this. Lauren was a part of it. She heard me go on a tangent in our sales meeting yesterday. And I said, every single person that's in a follow-up category needs to know that. Yeah. They need to know that. I did a video on it. We did a graphic on it. if you don't have the capacity to call them, at least mass email them what I sent, right? Like give them value. Let's provide value in education. Next is new properties they may be interested in. And this is a pet peeve of mine. Don't rely on the MLS. Don't rely on your CRM to do it for you. Hand pick properties and call Lauren and say, or do a video text and say, hey, Lauren, I found these 3 houses that just came on the market and I thought that they were fitting what you were looking for. Go above and beyond. You have to stand out in all the noise, right? Homes like theirs. So if it's a seller, homes like theirs or in their neighborhood that have sold, I think this is a huge one, right? Is what are houses selling for? What are houses like? What can I do to provide Lauren an update on why she should sell her house? What can we do to move that forward? And then the last one is probably one of the biggest ones because facts tell and stories sell. So what are some success stories of clients that have recently bought or sold that are in a similar situation as them that you could tell them to show them there's light at the end of the tunnel? Because if they listen to mainstream media, it's all doom and gloom. And so one of those 5 points is where you really just spend the majority of these phone calls.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the magic comes in with this script.
Yeah. And so what's funny is I think I'm at 4 conversations so far this morning. And I mentioned the drop in interest rates being the largest. It's a buyer that I've been working with for about 7 to 8 months. In our market, the average time that you're going to nurture is about 12 to 18 months. Had the interest rate conversation with one. With another one, I shared a similar client success story. And then I updated on market conditions, normalizing homes staying on the market. And so one of them, he was like, oh my gosh, Lauren, this house has been on the market for 45 days. What's wrong with it? I said, I'm so thankful that you asked that question. Let me give you an update on what's normal in our market. And he found that so beneficial and it brought ease to know that, okay, the house isn't crumbling. It's not that people don't want the house. But people are slower to make decisions because of what's going on in mainstream media. And it's our job as real estate professionals to educate and provide value on what exactly is going on. We have to ignore what the mainstream media is saying. Every market is different. There's no 2 markets that are alike. So it's just funny that all 3 of these have come into play just this morning. And proof is in the pudding. I would not doubt if I had to tally how many appointments we have set from this dialogue, I would say we're easily over 1,000.
Oh, easily. Yeah. And it's, and some of those we would have set without it, right? But not all of them. And it wouldn't have been as quality, right? And it wouldn't have been as good as the authority score that it builds to set an appointment the next time we have a conversation. And it's just, we play the long game, right? Yeah. I don't want to just sell houses tomorrow. I want to sell houses for the next 10 years. And so how can I deposit more value and build my authority score? And that's really the game that we need to play.
Yeah.
Lauren, I'm do this live on the podcast, but I'm curious if you would be interested in doing this with me. What if we did a Facebook Live inside of our All or Nothing private group where we just went really in depth and role played this script with everyone?
Let's do it.
Cool. We'll set that up. Stay on. If you guys listening, stay on the lookout for that. I think that it'll be a free value for everyone. I think it'll be really, really good. A quick tip, and we'll talk about it more in that live. So if you're not a part of the All or Nothing private group, it'll be exclusive there. So make sure you're part of it. If you can't find it, send me a message, and we'll make sure we get you added. But the secret to maximizing this, in my opinion, is let's say that you have 50 people that are in a follow-up category that are looking to buy in the next 6 to 12 months, looking to sell in the next 6 to 12 months, right? What if you could actually role play in the morning? Here's the exact follow-up script that I'm going to give them with the interest rate conversation, the market updates, the stories of people's success stories, whatever that one nugget is, I'm going to role play it in the morning. And then all 50 people are going to get the exact same conversation with the personal touch of their situation. Yep. And I'm providing that same value to everyone. So I can become a master of that one skill set, of that one piece of information and value, because it's going to be valuable to everyone. And if we just really break it down, it doesn't have to be complicated. That's very, very simple. Like every single person that is in a category to follow up within the next, or wanting to buy or sell in the next 6 to 12 months, needs an update on the real estate market. Call and give it to them.
And that 6 to 12 months could turn into the next 60 or 90 days because of the value that you're providing them.
100%.
And so there's so many, and, you know, we've learned and we've focused on this a lot over the past 6 months is there's so many clients that we would have been able to help purchase that a lot of agents would, if they just asked the right questions the right way. And if they dug deep into every single phone call. And I'll say one of the calls I had the other day, she was active on the site. She was calculating things. She was a seller lead, and I kept digging deep into the conversation. You know, what's her position, to the point where she was trying to hang up on me, and I just wasn't letting her have it. I'm someone where I will take 3 or 4 no's before I say okay. But she walked into that shoe store. She wanted help. I'm digging deep to see how to help her compromise.
How many people get uncomfortable at the first no and we're like, okay, call me if you see anything you like. If anything changes, let me know. Right? That's what normal salespeople do. But when you stay in the box, as my good friend Kelly Salter says, you got to have toughness. You got to have grit in this business. If you want to make it in this tough marketplace, you got to be willing to take a hit every now and then. And you got to be willing to honestly look stupid sometimes. When someone tells you no, just keep going. It's so funny you said that. I was thinking back to when I first got into business. I remember someone asked me, Matt, how have you had so much success so quickly? I said, well, here's my rule. I don't give up until I hear no 3 times. Like that was I'm like, I need to make this work. And so they're going to have to tell me no 3 times before I hear it. Right. Not that I ignored them. I countered their objection, whatever. But do you know how many times I had conversations and I got to 1 or 2 no's and I never got to 3 and ended up they bought or sold a house?
Yeah.
Because I was willing to withstand and overcome. Because they want to be helped. They need to be led. Most salespeople just don't have the guts to do it, or they allow their ego get in the way because it may be a little bit uncomfortable. But if you truly are in this for the right reasons to help people, I promise you, being willing to overcome those objections will stand out, and you won't be in a situation like I'm in right now, not knowing where the hell I'm going to buy a car, because a good salesperson would have already sold me one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a couple great points. One, this is an uncomfortable position. I don't want anyone to think that, oh, well, you've been doing this for 6 years, you're used to it. I am still not used to being uncomfortable, but I'm so deeply rooted in my why and my purpose that it outweighs me being uncomfortable, and it outweighs me playing small. And so this is a numbers game. I'm in here to build relationships to people and build genuine relationships. And how I do that is by getting outside of my comfort zone. So I don't think maybe for some people, they get over it. I don't. I have yet to get over being uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter. I know these people need help, and I know I'm the best one to help them. And I know our team is the best one to help them. So I'm going to get over my ego. My ego is not my amigo. I don't remember who said that, but there's
Ringo.
Who is it? Oh, yes, Ringo says it. Yep. Yes. Another thing that there's something else I was going to point out with it. The other thing is that with these scripts, as we're doing it, something that we get is, oh, I don't want to use dialogues and scripts because I don't want to sound salesy. These scripts are not here to make you sound salesy. These scripts are here to be a guide to help you have a successful conversation. They have power questions built into them so you can lead people to the closing table. And so as you continue to internalize these and practice with other people, not on your clients, you will put your own tweak on them to where it sounds totally normal. You do not sound like a salesperson. So what I love about scripts and dialogues is that I know I can go to Walmart, I can have a conversation about real estate at church, and those scripts are my guide.
Yep.
And so
it is the framework, right? And I think a lot of people, like for me, I stay away from scripts for the longest time because people taught them the wrong way, right? And you can be over scripted. But I will also tell you this. I've had people come in that were, I'll just say it, that were awful on the phones, that were in our organization. but they were willing to do the work and they read the script line by line and they set some appointments. Like the script works, right? But the people that really have massive success, they internalize the script. And I like the word dialogues better. So as an example, I'm looking at our appointment setting dialogue. There are 2 phrases that are underlined. And the reason those are underlined, those are the only phrases you're not allowed to change. You have to say those exactly as written. The rest of it is a framework for a guide to the conversation that you need to have with this human being on the other end of the phone, with this human being you meet at the grocery store. They're just people, but this is a guide how to have a conversation to deposit value to the relationship so that you can help them pursue their buying and selling dreams.
Yeah, perfect. Yes, I think everyone would definitely benefit from seeing that live role play and just how natural it comes across. So I'm looking forward to that.
We got to wrap up here, Lauren. We're running over time, but there's a couple things that you mentioned I want to put a bow on. You mentioned being deeply rooted, right, in your cause and your why. And I heard that phrase for the first time from Will Grimes at Sales Power. And so I think that he explained it really, really well. And he talked a little bit. Actually, we had him on this show. Go back and listen to that episode. He's a great dude with a lot of education, a lot of information that we can all learn from. If that spoke to you a little bit, go listen to his story on our podcast. It's there. Another free resource for you as well would be Lauren mentioned the Power List that she does each and every day. Well, we have an episode that we did on the Power List going in depth on how that helps you win the day to day, how to guess what, or how to how to come up with what are the critical tasks that I need to do to move the needle forward for my business today, how to develop what those are, and then why it's so important for your business. And so if you're looking for more resources, there's just some more resources for you. Lauren, what are some parting words that you would give to everyone here? What is some advice that you would leave everyone with?
I would recap the simple action items. So 1, writing your to-do list is not doing the thing. Reading about what you need to do is not doing the thing. Actually going out and doing the thing is doing the thing. And so pick that one activity that you need to do every single day to where if you do it, it solves all your problems. So we recommend having conversations. The second big takeaway is practice your dialogues and your scripts with other people, and then go out and share value, provide education to your clients. And those are my biggest takeaways. Get out of your own way, quit putting limiting belief on yourself, and you will see your life change in 2024.
I love it. There's a couple things I want to wrap up is I did this exercise. Lauren, you were part of this conversation with our listing agents recently. I said, I want you guys to all brain dump. Give me your honest answer on what is your problems you have right now on our listing side of the business. And they just kept firing at me everything that you can think of, right? Well, people are waiting because of interest rates. This house isn't selling. This one's overpriced. All these problems that we came up with. And I wrote them all down. And I said, awesome. Thank you guys so much. I've got good news for you. I know how to solve all of these problems. And we all are capable of doing it. And the simple answer is you need more sellers. Go find more. If this seller is overpricing their house and they're not motivated to do a price reduction, quit wasting your time and go find motivated sellers. If this person isn't ready to sell their house, cool. We can't force them to sell their house. Go find another one, right? Yeah. And I think we just get stuck in where we are and we lose track of where we should be going. And I'm not saying forget about the seller that house may be a little bit overpriced. Like still have conversations and still guide them through, but don't let that be your focus to keep you away from the activity of going and getting more. And I think that applies to buyers and sellers is you need more clients in your pipeline. That solves all of your problems in this business.
Absolutely.
There's something else I was going to end with, and I don't remember what it was now. You had said something that sparked something in my head. Anyway, if I think of it, we'll share it in another episode. But Lauren, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom. By the way, I looked up your numbers and we were both wrong. You are on track, closed and forecasted 15.6 million this year.
Holy bajoys.
In a quote unquote down year for Lauren, right? So hopefully that puts some perspective for you guys to put into play of what is possible if you put these things to action. So Lauren, thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay on the lookout for that stay on the lookout for that live in our private group. Again, send me a message if you want to be added. We'll make sure we get you in there. We're going to start doing some more exclusive content in there for you guys. So make sure you join that. And as always, this podcast is a movement to give back to this amazing industry. And so we just ask one favor. If you got anything of value from this episode, share it with a friend. I see the constant growth of this podcast. We keep getting more and more downloads, and I absolutely love it. I love the impact we're having on the industry. Just keep sharing this with other people that we can help. So thank you guys. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.